That was Bianchi. And now we're at our featured presentation. The Houston VIP National Poetry Slam team is currently ranked 13th out of over 70 teams in the nation. They have been in existence for 9 years and are coming up to a decade of hosting and performing and sending poets to the National Poetry Slam. Their coach is the current Houston Poet Laureate. Without further ado, please put your hands together for Houston VIP. Check, check, check.
Go ahead and do y'all then. Okay.
Check this. Check one, check two, mic check.
I got a pocket full of pearls. Give you that.
Never fight a kid, because as a teacher,
as a nurse,
I lose my job.
But if I was gonna fight a kid,
I know exactly who it would have been. This boy was the kind of kid whose mouth should have come with a padlock, half your size, but still only knows how to speak down to you.
This girl was an asshole. 12 years of constant contradiction. If I told her the sky was blue, she'd tell me it's magenta and probably kick me in the shin.
Every easy A became a paper airplane. Every short lesson, a long interruption. I wish he'd choke on his own sass.
She was a biter. No, really. She tried to bite me multiple times.
Oh, empty-head ass.
Busted in the face
He
ass.
shouted insults at me all year.
4 feet 9 inches to size you up, take you down, fist swinging before you could get close enough to say hello. Her brain always sounding an alarm, telling her if I can touch her, I can hurt her.
One day I decided the antics had gone on long enough, so I tapped him on the shoulder. All his guard went up at once.
Touch is a powerful thing. The thread that ties two humans together. It is a comfort and a threat, a knotted muscle memory. Touch is the first form of communication a child will ever understand.
Before sound holds any meaning, they will know the difference between open palm and clenched fist.
I see the worst of what nature and nurture have to offer. I'm trained to recognize the difference.
I'm trained to act like I don't notice it.
I'm constantly surrounded by the teacher's least favorite students.
And they are all my favorites.
I tell my kids that touch means something different to everyone, but there's no way of knowing if strange hands are seen as weapon or peace offering.
I'm told to be present for my students, but he has taught me that removal is sometimes the better option. If all I have to offer is absence,
I'm there. And if all I can offer is a safe distance,
I'm here. And if they've been defiant for so long I can't picture them as anything but strong, I can say that I'm still learning violence
and unlearning instinct.
But when the world has been failing you, maybe it's impossible to tell the difference. I've been warned that I work with bad kids, but there's no such thing. Only bad habits and bad circumstance.
Lessons that should have never been learned.
Children unsure of what trust looks like.
Adults fortunate enough to escape their childhood uneducated in the violence a home can hold.
When I feel like fighting, I ball my fists up, then open my hands. I make my weapon and lay it down, make it known their fight is not with me. I have begun to see Tempest as protection.
When unleashing my mom voice is not enough, I remind myself that children only use the tools they've been given. If they only know how to destroy, it is my job to teach them how to create, to protect them from the arsenal being used against them. When meeting a battlefield of a child, no one wants to think of the war being waged behind closed doors.
But we can never know from just a glance how long they've been holding these minds beneath their skin.
Ready to explode at the slightest touch of danger. I would never fight a kid.
But as a teacher,
I damn sure learned how to fight for them.
Of Houston VIP. And I want to take a minute and introduce you to the team. Team, y'all come up here, please. Y'all already met the lovely Jeremy and Erica. Y'all give them another hand. Joining me, we have Raylan to my right. Steffi to my left. I couldn't find you for a minute. And our additional coach, Jordan. Y'all give him some love, too. We are happy that y'all are here still in this beautiful humidity. I love Houston. Don't y'all love Houston in this humidity? Sure. It's like hot yoga all the time. All right, so we're going to keep this thing going and keep hitting with y'all some more, kidding y'all with some more poems. Y'all cool with that? Yeah! All right, let's go.
I see you.
I've been told that I need to work on my metaphors. Said that people want to hear beautiful language more than they want to hear the facts. The fact is, I wrote this poem 6 times trying to find the metaphor for my own blackness. Heard it 4 times from white women who find it so easy to explain my cultural experience as a figure of speech. Like I'm a colloquialism. Like it's easy to be informal when you're trying to be something that you're not. The first time I wrote this poem, I watched 2 white girls laugh at a black woman because her cornrows weren't as laid as theirs. Stretch their coffins, shake nails into their boxer braids to leave pressure from their scalp. This is the point when I try to make a metaphor out of mediocrity. Tell you that nothing about you will understand pressure or how it feels to be pulled by the root, that the reason her hair isn't all in formation is because every part of her has been coded to fight against what would rather hold her into submission. The second time I wrote this poem, I listened to a tenured professor tell me that the civil rights movement wouldn't be a part of his African American studies class syllabus. Told me it was too much for non-black students to endure for a semester. I was forced to watch her dwindle down my history to a nursery rhyme for children. I thought I would have to bleed this poem into existence when forced to meet an officer with the soliloquy of my innocence that he hit with a haiku of educated nigga. Know your place. I thought this was a metaphor that I could extend myself from. Thought I could find something beautiful behind the bars, but they just became an elixir that I could never return from again when 2 white boys talked around the word nigga like we grew up in the same hood. You know, like they really knew what it meant to be one. When confronted, they dropped it, walked away from the pro-black bitch. This is the metaphor for how everyone wants to be black until it's time to be black. When speaking for myself, I stand up for my whole race while you just out here doing it for the fucking culture. Only saying what you think is gonna make you down, but you never want to get those pretty little Sperry's dirty with the injustice of the boys next you step on in hopes of being. Now I see you want to be all finished stanza. An analogy for how things can't be that bad. Proof that words don't mean shit until you say them. A comparison of fact and fiction. The fact is I wrote this poem 6 times trying to be a symbol that wasn't a metaphor, and somehow you brought me to life. You can't even see that you don't want to be you. You just want to be something. And I would too if everything I knew was stolen, but imagine how it feels to see yourself a first edition of Triumph and Suffrage, holding on by the glue of your culture watered down to a metaphor for dummies. You can't take my culture and put a new label on it without giving credit where it's due. You've always been known for plagiarism, but you're still a paraphrase. You'll always be unfinished imagery. I ain't found the right metaphors because my culture can't be constricted to your stolen language. I ain't found the fucking words because they don't exist. We do.
What do y'all think of Houston VIP so far? This is the awkward part of the show where I interrupt the feature to pass the tip jar. Basically, all the slam poetry teams right now, especially Houston VIP, especially us, everyone, are raising funds to go to the National Poetry Slam in Denver in August. So if you like what you've heard, if you want to support them, please put some money in the jar. We appreciate the kind that jingles, but love the kind that folds. Also, do y'all merch for sale?
Yes, we do.
What do you have?
We got t-shirts. We got
T-shirts for how much? $10. They got t-shirts for $10.
Only $10? You can't afford not to buy it.
They got Anthology, how much?
15.
They got Anthology for $15.
Only $15? You can't afford not to buy
Is
it.
there any other merch? They got chapbooks, how much? Chapbooks for $5.
Holy shit! Only $5? You can't afford not to buy it. What else we got?
Do y'all have more? Is there more? Yeah, you can donate. They have all this merch. You can donate. Hit them up after the show. But before then, they have the rest of their features.
So you guys can actually follow us at Houston VIP Slam on all social media. Our website is HoustonVIPSlam.com. And you can come see us this Saturday at Warehouse Live. My grandfather was a lot of things, but he was never still for too long. Our papa was a rolling rider. Wherever he laid his hat was his circus. The Ferris wheel was his ring, and he was the master. Behind every great man is an even greater mystery. I never understood his need to trapeze through our lives. I'd see him come around once, then he'd disappear for the next revolution. Out of reach, I'd hear his voice trailing as that wheel turned again. Said he tried to teach us what he knew, like walking away. Everyone in the family knew the same thing: he'd be there or be full of excuses. Always in grand fashion, ever the performer, he descended back to us and said, all's fair in love and freak shows. And didn't he pack up his circus and move? Try to find adoration in a new place, beguile new crowds with his stale dollar popcorn acts. I didn't want to see this show anymore. If he told me once, he told me 1,000 ways that our family could be entertaining. I watched him make my mother the knife swallower. Every decision she made was certain death. He didn't trust her or was afraid for her, so he'd berate her in front of the rest of us. When she didn't cut herself open at his fear, he'd be the loudest applause in the room, loud enough to be noticed when he'd reinvent the Ferris wheel. Gone again. He returned to make my grandmother the bearded lady. She must be running a ring of crime out of her home. Must be the real man behind mysteries none of us could understand. The accusations became more grandiose, but we let him be. He was our patriarch. And when he smiled while eating a vanilla ice cream cone or gave you money for penny candy that no longer existed, he almost seemed still, like he was gonna stay. But that wheel would pick him up once more. Each time he came around, he was more weathered, as if exposed to the wrath of the sky before coming home to meet our own indignation. He told me youth is wasted on the judgmental. But how can you expect us to be optimistic when that wheel has never stopped turning? My grandfather has never stopped running. Our family love was a 3-ring trap, and he always broke free somehow. What an act! Another wow from the crowd, another scoff from my belly, license plates from Arizona, New Mexico, evidence that anywhere was better than home. My mother's face frozen in my memory. Isn't having a father just a cliche? Isn't a nuclear family just a time bomb? My grandfather did wow me once, about 4 years ago when the Alzheimer's took him for good. The amazing amnesiac, he never remembered anything he'd ever told us. And in a strange way that made my mother want to revere him, to gather all his words and place them in big, pretty lights as if they weren't already ash in the wind. She wanted to honor him for doing what he could never do while living. For his final act, my grandfather stayed in one place. I'm gonna ask Erica to join me on stage. Have y'all followed us yet?
I already am.
Because we can see it right now.
I already am.
Thank you, Ryan.
I got you.
We're gonna try some new shit for y'all, okay?
Fresh in the toilet, don't flush it yet.
That sounds so exciting. I like it.
We're not supposed to like comics. And we don't. We love comics. Leave the corners sticky with our pleasure with each turning page.
Use them often in our fantasies.
And to be clear, we don't mean the boilerplate adolescent twilight drama. I'm talking no holds barred, boom, pow, frame by frame, Maury, hold on to your geeky glasses, Marvel versus DC, and who can make me cream quickest fan fiction.
Don't look so surprised. We know women are supposed to be nice,
Polite, prissy,
pleasant,
boring, but that's just our cover. Prim and proper ladies by day, freaky fantasizers by any time we feel.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
Superhero sex. I can't help but think that Wolverine would be the perfect secret lover. There's just something so sexy about knowing I can bite and scratch all I want and he'll just heal right up. Unless he gets too excited.
The claws could be a deal breaker.
Oh, Logan, baby, you gotta put those away.
Just make me climb the walls. If I'm not shooting sticky webs out of my beatbox, I don't want it. If my legs not shaking like Peter, Puckle, Picker, oh no, baby, what is you doing? If you're not setting up the camera to catch my latest web slinging, you're missing front page action. Let's wake up the whole friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man.
I bet the neighbors know my name. I could have sex with anyone, and I'd only be kissing Mystique. A mutant after my own heart, switching appearances as often as we switch positions. She could be my ex-girl, she could be my next girl, and still be the girl I'm sexing right now. Have you ever had sex in a telephone booth? Use your x-ray vision to GPS my G-spot. Show me the superhuman strength in your tongue.
I will sweat out that one large Jerry curl in the middle of your forehead faster than a speeding bullet.
Oh, you want it fast? Don't get me started about Nightcrawler. You want to have sex on the beach, baby? Poof.
Dubai? Poof.
The top of the Golden Arches? Poof. Let's join the Mile High Club without ever buying a flight.
But could Nightcrawler get to Wakanda? Dear Lord, Black Panther. Vibranium is the way my legs shake while we do it on a billion. Dominate me like you did Bucky in Avengers. Explore every inch of this figure.
A king is admirable, but I need a demigod. Thor can hit me with his hammer any day. God of thunder rumble before the torrential rain.
Shh, don't tell nobody. I am his brother's keeper too. You know I keep it low key while I throw that ass guard back.
Now me, I put all my money on Wade Wilson. Dear Deadpool, show me why they call you the Merc with the mouth. I want to ride your tortured, scarred face. To me, that just means textured for my pleasure. You can break my fourth wall expeditiously. When you think about it, what superhero is a match for all this woman? I need action, adventure.
A guest appearance by Stan Lee. I want you to wake up and scream, woman,
where is my super suit? No man, myth, or legend is greater than this bomb-ass, premeditated parable.
Call me your arch nemesis.
Everyone says they want a lady in the streets and super sex in the sheets. And we're the girls who can give you both.
When you are a pro-black activist, you can never really die. Give your life building this family and we will remove a bullet's permanence. We have survived every assassination after all. Kept Huey in our heartbeats, Malcolm in our mouths. Did we not walk Martin out of the Lorraine and into our spirits? And now, Teve, I think of you. How you were to me what they were to so many others, a leader, a friend. And I think of how I could be bitter over the death of yet another black activist, or I could celebrate how we are still here, keeping you alive, you embodiment of community, always surrounding us first, then us surrounding you back. You carved an enclave of sanctuary in an earth trying to kill us. You, an an injection of peace. You pro-black skydiver, always on a new extraction mission, dropping daily into the thick of war and staying until it was war no longer. You reclaimed every spot you touched, a new planet for people of color. Do not come for us, you warned. And when I think of the day the earth came through your defenses, I must remind myself that you were not a sacrifice unto this knotted ball of yarn. This colonized jigsaw that has taken so much already does not get to have you. There will be no swallowing into soil. You will not be made rich and fertile for some new life to grow from. No, all matter is not constant. Something did leave that day, but it was not you. It was this earth they keep trying to make us live in that does not deserve the gift of you, that only lets your memory exist between apathy and survivor's guilt, that will say you had so much more to live for, but mean slower death or more to give on a planet that does not give you anything except for reasons to leave. But Teve, how could you leave something you were not a part of? Why be bitter over what the takers could not take? The irony is, when I think of the most radical self-love I know, it is your selflessness. You coming unto us that day and asking if we needed a space to heal. And I think of you smiling the next day, and I think of you laughing the day after that, and I think of you living unto like your oppression's cure, transcending earth till our existence is more than a constant struggle, till a black girl's life is not something that's just waiting to be taken by anything here. Anti-blackness dissolves here. The rescue mission has an escape, and after all you've done, I can't help feeling like I don't deserve to be here either, but I know I am invited and we can make this therapy session / celebration the same way you greeted every space, saying, hey, on this planet, let's do everything we couldn't before, build a tower unto ourselves, worship at our own feet, look in the mirror, proclaim how beautiful we are. Teve, aren't you telling me, hey, stand up. There is a war to win.
Y'all enjoying our poems so far? Well, we appreciate you for listening. All right, so we got, I just have a quick announcement, more details about the show that we have coming up on July 22nd. It is at Warehouse Live. $5 to sit, free to spit, hosted by the Houston Poet Laureate, Deborah D. Mouton. And I ain't shit, so I'm hosting the workshop. So, we got an amazing feature. We're gonna be doing more poems, just getting ready to go to Denver. We gonna have a good time. You know, we gonna have some poems. You know, we got a bar too. You know, but nonetheless, I'm gonna go ahead and get off stage because I'm socially awkward. So, bringing up the next person to the stage, Houston VIP, who we bringing up? Erica! Give it up for Erica!
Dyke, the words spat onto me with the kind of disgust only a mother could muster. I was 14, felt more at home in a button-down than any dress I'd ever been squeezed into. This time the dress was green. It was hers back when she was her mother's perfect daughter, something I could never be. I think she was hoping the dress had magic powers, could make me more straight hair and straight lace and straight, make me feel more girl, less imposter, more seen, not heard, more delicate and sad and less rough around the edges. She wanted to raise a lady. She got me instead. I think she thought if I acted like a girl, I wouldn't want to kiss them. Maybe I would stop feeling so out of place in this costume of a body I was supposed to fit in. I think I wore a skirt that day. It was the only agreement that could be made. It seemed easier to breathe in, the closest thing to a two-piece suit she'd ever let me wear. It felt like compromise. A mother and daughter celebrating together, picture-perfect Polaroid of a lie frozen in time. My mom tells me about lies and omitting the truth. Tells me there's a difference, that no one needed to know I felt different. She calls it a phase. Fast forward. I lay in bed with a man I might love, dress and heels thrown on the floor, makeup still done. I played this role so well. I forget when it started to feel like truth, like I was no longer playing dress up in my mother's life. She'd be proud of me if I told her. But 23-year-old me feels guilty for falling for a man when 14-year-old me had to take a beating for loving a girl. And 25-year-old me will probably have to explain why I can't just pick a side. I stare at that green dress still hanging in my closet a decade later. I start to think that maybe my mom was right. I almost forget about the nights I cried myself to sleep, or the morning I threw up in the car because I knew I'd have to tell the girl I loved it was over. But then I remember a friend telling me that if you say a lie out loud enough times, it becomes true. And how many times did she make me say I was straight, that the girl meant nothing to me, that kissing her was a gross mistake, that I was a good Catholic girl, a good Italian daughter. If you ask my mother now, she will tell you that none of this happened. Not the silent car rides, or the forced penance, or the yelling, or the beating. She will tell you she loves me unconditionally. She will not tell you she was going to kick me out of her house for wearing my pride to the family barbecue, or that she called me a cold-hearted bitch when I didn't apologize for it. The one thing we will both tell you is that my mother didn't raise no dyke. Are you guys ready for one more? Can we do one more?
Yes! Check, check, check.
Everybody say, "Aww."
Aww.
This is our last poem of the night, but don't forget, you can come see us Saturday where?
Warehouse Line.
That's right. And it's only $5 to get in.
$5.
Holy shit.
You can't afford not to come. Please don't.
Come for Jordan, he's socially awkward.
You know, I need to make more friends.
Hey, I'll be your friend, man. Let's go.
We head to the booth with urgency. Our most basic human need, the privacy to do your business. Choose number 1 or 2 and feel relief when you walk out with your I voted sticker in hand.
Texans are especially proud of this process, like we are especially proud of everything. In Houston, our chests swell knowing our city is the most diverse in the country, a sanctuary in a sea of injustice.
We knew our voters would create change for the better when it came to the bathroom bill.
The South makes most people nervous.
But we knew our skyline had risen above transphobia.
Our lesbian mayor and rainbow-colored crosswalks are a testament to understanding. Or they're supposed to be.
I've been a Texan since I was 2, held the pride of state in hand,
And the history of unwelcome in my back pocket. It's not something us Texans talk about.
This big expanse is our problematic favorite.
And on November 3rd, 2015, I saw the writing on the bathroom wall. Vote for HERO, the Houston Equal Rights Ordinance.
Vote to protect Muslims from persecution.
To keep veterans and pregnant women employed. To stop discrimination against any ethnicity, age, sexual orientation, or gender identity. But when the hate campaign began,
the words bathroom bill were inescapable.
No men in women's rooms. Signs went up along our highways.
Greeted me on my college campus.
We headed to the booth with urgency, sure that Houston would stick a spur in that bill, send it moving at breakneck speed.
The vote wasn't even close.
The fight for equality was flushed by an imaginary threat. 61% prove why this is the city of screw, why everything is a bit slower down here. Our state is more country than compassion, the home of Confederate flags and Ted Cruz. Comfortable telling our own communities that they ain't shit. Everything is bigger, even our bigotry.
When our city voted no, Mayor Parker responded,
I fear that this will have stained Houston's reputation as a tolerant, welcoming, global city, as though the doors could close and we forget that both predators and prejudice hide in plain sight. Our city keeps a closed door, treating the voting booth like a hidden outhouse, staying backwater stagnant in the privacy of their own decisions, more concerned with people peering their heads in than the fact that we will finish, wash our hands, and walk away. No amount of rainbow crosswalks or saluting the troops make up for decisions made behind closed doors.
Our city tried to rid itself of gender fluidity, but this bill was never about bathrooms at all.
This has never been about the booth, about business confined to a few moments of privacy. What do we do when everyone's watching, when privacy is no longer a topic of public conversation? No one walks into private space with you, sees you drop your authoritative ballot. How do you speak for others when no one's watching, when the door opens?
are you walking out as the hero we all need?
Give it up for Houston VIP!